Number one series, number one for playoff day, number one.
Actually, real quick, I want to pick your head real quick. Okay, Churros. So when you look at between the jungle matchup, what do you think here would be the easier win condition?
I think Baksha would definitely live in Alchemy's jungle. I think that would be one of the better win conditions. So rotate over, take his buffs, and then just immediately start that invade. You have a little bit more sustain coming in from the Wrath, so that would be a lot better for Powerful to just sit in their jungle. But it does look like Alchemy wants to go for their aggressiveness this time around.
Because originally, I would say if you look at it as a normal one-to-one matchup, it could be like maybe 50-50, and then it becomes like down to the team, right? And then you add a Rafa into the equation. It really does feel like, at least going into the draft for game one, I would say Evo, you would feel a little bit confident. And we know without the risk of sounding a bit too biased here, I would say it also allows for that bait where Alchemy would potentially overcommit. But now enough about Evo. Now back to the Alchemy team fight-wise, the way you will take these objectives per se, playing around them would be so crucial. And obviously about trying to, I would say it would be a little bit tricky as well to catch the backline per se. I'm actually kind of surprised you don't see a couple of Purifiers here and there. And meanwhile, we do see that bit of a skirmish over here at the bottom. Nice trades going out just before the turtle. But hey, Alchemy's coming in.
Doesn't seem like we'll be expecting much of a kill from the side of Evil, but Alchemy understandably is going to be the one that has kind of overextended a little bit too early. Since we are 10 seconds into the turtle fight, we've got Xbox as well as Martyrs already not that healthy.
This is really interesting to me because I think that Evil's draft really enables them to be a little bit more aggressive, but they're just waiting for Alchemy to come into their faces, and then they react from there. And it does work very well for Evil because Powerful was level 4, way ahead of Icon. But now, the turtle fight ensues, Powerful all alone.
Do note that Dani is still at level 3. Carrot will take a few ticks more, or tick away to getting a level 4. Most of the roams are not particularly ready just yet, but Icon is just waiting for the perfect time together with Powerful, but Icon immediately will be able to seize the turtle for themselves. And this is kind of like go in, take it, and get themselves right out of that kind of situation. So both teams, very passive.
Very, very nice pressure though. You can see it actually right there. They hard committed to the poke. And surprisingly, I think like Evil, they tried to adapt to the Alchemy's response over to the side lane, but unfortunately, the consequence of that was that Twist was not level 4 in time for the turtle, not able to really reinforce to try to play for the objective with Powerful, therefore losing the retry battle right there. So really, really well played from Adam. Oh my god, nice pick.
Almost going down there by the hands of Dani. They did manage to get a pretty good pick off, but unfortunately, with a quick little escape from the side of Novara, it's going to be A-okay.
Twist actually running for his life from Pooski. The early game matchup right here, okay? That's insanity just to get away from Powerful.
Well, for now, it's just going to be looking at the fact that, Alchemy, they do have a very good idea what they want to do. But this is a problem for Evil, right? Because Alchemy, they do have quite a bit of heroes that can actually hold the Lord pretty effectively. While for the side of Evil, not necessarily. They do have, yes, they do have the Rafaela. You've got quite a bit of sustainability. But in the end of the day, Evil focuses a lot more about lane domination as well as river domination, not necessarily holding down to the Lord. So if anything, when it comes down to holding down the Lord or the turtle, neutral objective, that is going to be a problem. But speaking of problem, this Dani is going to be the one to find the first problem for themselves. Coconut is unfortunately going to fall prey to the hands of Alchemy just for now. That is going to be a two-way battle as Icon gets himself a double kill, while Alchemy, their side, had lost Pacifist and Dani.
A little bit of a messy fight over there. You can tell that Alchemy. This fight actually went through, let's say, 3 different transitions. Alchemy were over there trying to pressure the goal in. This is what you want to do. You want to play towards your Bruno strength. You want to open the tower, take the plating as fast as you can. And Evil were ready. And then Alchemy, they were thinking about retreating, trying to get into a better position. Lost the first pick, but then it kind of like evolved into that 1-for-1 trade. But Icon coming out on top of that. So for now, things are still relatively even. This will all come down right now to the second turtle, I feel. Well, will Evil be able to like sort of redeem themselves here? Because Alchemy, they're playing their priority over this turtle. And
Carrot finds himself going to be the first victim to the hands of Alchemy. And to make matters worse, that is going to be the turtle that will be taken by the hands of Alchemy as well. Powerful as well as Twist. They really wanted to chase down on the Dani, but unfortunately, 2-0 situation where they can actually get a little bit more value out of it.
Now, this is where you see the breakdown in terms of the draft coming in from Evil. You need someone to open up the map, but Twist and Powerful still has to farm up. They have to hit their power spikes. Taking a look at itemizations, it does look like Twist has got his Blade of the Hephaestus, so he does have a little bit more damage, but he is still suffering in a lane-to-lane matchup with this export, slowly chunking down bits and bits of his health. He's unable to rotate as fast as he should be when you pick Khalid in the first phase of the draft.
And the bottom half of the map is where I would say the heat signatures are going to be. But now, just as I say that, I kind of jinxed it a little bit. You can tell Icon, he's trying to get a bit of info. You know, the Rafa, Carrot is doing a great job at just covering the Brody. Look at his positioning all the way behind the tower. There's a lot of patience involved, but wait, Icon.
Wow, Icon, what are you doing? Just going in proxy in between of the second and the third. But Icon is not going to be stopping at anything, but unfortunately, I guess that anything may actually just be powerful after all, as now 4-person have proved themselves useful against Icon. But this is what I mean there. They have to bring 4-person to really deal with Icon.
It's a very deep proxy by Icon, and at the end of the day, Alchemy won the better trade. They took down that they took down the turret. They got 2 turtles, and they're looking for more. This is a very, very brand new Alchemy. They know their objectives. They know their win conditions, and they are looking for these objectives. Danny almost missing out Twist.
That's not good. Burning the flicker like that, and you can tell, see, Alchemy, this is where the Bruno snowball, they're trying to make it happen. And they're trying to like sort of assert their dominance around the map. You see how they play the bottom side? Really, really hardcore. Danny trying for the kick.
Oh, that
no,
is going to be a combination coming from both sides. That is, of course, with the Desert Raging Sandstorm, allowing them to pick up 1. But that actually might not be the end just yet. Yes, we do not have the ultimate coming from Danny, but at least we do have the turtle coming from the side of Alchemy. They have that priority, so they would want to hold on to that for a little while longer. Remember what I say, Evil do not have anyone that can really hold down a turtle at all. They can really just jump in and go in for the steal from the side of Powerful. But the question is
50-50.
if whether they can do it or not, which unfortunately is not going to be the case, as Icon takes himself the turtle for himself. Pooski just going to be running right in with the last Insanity, pushing Coconut as well as JS away, allowing the rest of the members from the side of Alchemy to actually focus down on the Twist as well as Powerful. But Jet, he did what he needed to with the Raging Sandstorm plus Flicker, allowing them to get the final kill down onto Twist that ends it all off.
There was so good layering coming in from Alchemy. That turtle fight, you see Icon just getting that turtle retribution, and then the rest of Alchemy comes in straight for that backup. There was nothing that Evil could do. They still need a little bit more time. It's still a little bit early in the game, so Raph needs that time to just farm up, get that healing potential, and Evil needs to follow up quick.
And this is where I would say the experience around the turtle objectives are really, really crucial. You know, you can kind of tell there was like a little bit of a pause, especially after the retry battle was lost. And, you know, really, really huge props to Jet. That Valentina Kali double stun really coming out, saving, and actually redeeming the fight. Otherwise, that could have potentially gone really, really bad for Alchemy. But, you know, Evil over there, I wasn't really too sure, you know, like what the comments were like. I really would have liked to check that out eventually. Like, you know, Coconut, you could see the, you know, X-Bolt trying to like kind of zone him out. And it was very awkward at first. And I was very surprised that Alchemy didn't try to capitalize on that, especially with the turtle buffs. But, you know, overall, still a very, very good trade. Alchemy coming out on top. And now I would say it will come down to kind of like trying to play for the tier 2s before they can finally go for the Lord.
If you look at Alchemy's rotations, they're playing a protect composition. Pacifist is the win condition. Danny just zoning them, zoning Evil out very, very deep into their jungle. And Pacifist just slowly but surely farming up. He's just staying back. There's nothing that Evil can do to reach Danny.
There we go.
He immediately goes past Pooski as he wanted to go for Danny. But unfortunately, Danny is the one that managed to get away, but not Pooski.
Very, very safe. Pacifist is so, in a lack for a better word, just very passive, just staying back, hanging out, waiting for Evil to just burn all their ultimates onto any one member of Alchemy, and then Pacifist comes in and gets that free hit. What you don't want to do is have a Bruno get free hits on your team. And even now, he's getting so much damage into the fray. Twist, though, dealing a lot of damage, but there was no follow-up from Evil. Powerful and Twist needs to really get the communication on and layer in that team fights together.
You would have thought that even though they won that skirmish, you would have expected them to be able to, you know, get priority over the Lord fight for once. But strangely enough, you know, Icon overall the map, you could see tiny.
Johnny! That's what we want.
That is not what Evil were looking for. I guess that's the first Lord and the tier 2 is down. You know, you can see Twist, he's over on the other side, he's not coming in. They're decided to give this up. They're going to play the map and try to split things up, try to alleviate some of the pressure away so that the siege will be a little bit easier, and hopefully they can try to, you know, take down the Lord and not lose too much resources on the map.
Well, hey, you know, when you're playing on Novaria, it's all about that high ground wave clear. You have that backside defense coming in from Evo. So Evo just desperately trying to get that lane management, lane priority. Alchemy really needs to split themselves up, trying to maintain that lanes. In 10-minute mark, this is where Martis starts to fall off hard. Now, the snowball went well for Alchemy, but Danny looking for a quick pick.
Oh, not again! Onto Carrot, the second time in a row to be the first person to be taken down. Coconut at least did manage to avenge for his fellow friend by bringing Danny down. So both of the Romans are now dead. So how is this gonna be like for both sides?
Oh, this is definitely not good. You know, actually from the draft, I was kind of like contemplating, like, why would Carrot not want to go for like Purify this game? You know, a couple of Purifiers would make things really, really difficult. I actually assumed that this would be a very tough choke game, but Danny coming out of these very, very sacrificial picks, which, you know, this is where, this is like I said, the experience. It all comes down to the experience at the end of the day. And this is starting to show. But, you know, back to the previous skirmish before the Lord, as I was saying, you can see, like, you know, when Evo chose to take that fight back then, and then you can see the icon, he was on the other side of the map, and this comes down to what I was referring to, saying that they're trying to achieve too much. So now Alchemy, they would need to, like, say, try to choke out Evil, maybe steal a couple of green camps here and there, play the waves nicely as they set up for the second Lord. Hopefully, this time the siege will be a bit more successful.
Yeah, hey, Hades, you said in the keys to victory that Alchemy really struggles in the late game, really struggles in closing a game out. Now, in this late game defense, Evil really thrives on all of this, like, reactionary kind of engages, reactionary kind of skirmishes. They do have a lot of high ground right now. Alchemy, what is their play here?
Well, like I mentioned, it will be the second Lord, and then from there, you know, they're going to have power creeps, they're going to have the enhanced Lord, and then maybe they can try and get the inhibs. That's all they need to do. Just make sure you don't get caught out of position, number one, and obviously don't mess up your team fights. It's that simple. But, you know, as simple as it sounds, the execution, the comms, these are all the things where in a team environment in the playoffs, they are all very crucial. So you can see right now it's all about playing the map. And this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to get maybe that one potential pick, trying to get that mental factor out.
Now, of course, we talked about it before that Evil was exceptionally good at dragging out the game and constantly playing turtle, playing possum. But this lineup in particular actually doesn't allow them to do that. They don't have a very good wave clear at all, except for Novaria. Probably just a single Star Shatter, that's all. And that's literally pretty much all. The main other thing that we can look at is probably gonna be the Desert Tornado coming in from the side of Khalid, but you're also gonna have to be really careful about your situation as well as your positioning to really find out if whether you are capable of holding out lane all by yourself.
Well, Evo has a sort of like a run it down kind of kind of draft, so they really need to look for an open opportunity to run it down, and this is where they are waiting for that Lord. Alchemy will thrive better in all these Lord fights. They do have that economy advantage as of now, but Evo, they really have to watch their 6. As long as Alchemy gets a nice flank, Evo is done for.
And doesn't seem like anyone's gonna be in, okay, at least Pacific's just gonna be playing around the pixel brush, but it doesn't seem like his location is going to be hidden for a long time after all. And the rest of Evil, they're still playing possum. They're still going to be hiding around the place and waiting for the perfect opportunity to really just jump right in and spring into action. The longer that Alchemy takes to take this Lord, the harder it would be. After all, we do have JS, the sharpshooter, when it comes down to the Star Shatter. Time and time again, he has been nailing these shots.
So now as we see the Lord, they have a very, very good Lord pool. They have priority over the map. They have the advantage for now in terms of, you know, utilizing the terrain. In Alchemy, they're slowly trying to choke them out. You can see that Evil, they're running out of places to hide. And this is one of the downsides of playing from behind as a Rafa. And now, you know, they're refusing to touch the Lord. You can see they really want to play. They're trying to bait Evil out. And this all comes down to who has the bigger bollocks, I would say, for lack of a better word. Because honestly, in these kind of moments, you either commit for the 50-50 or you just try to find for that pick somehow. Like, what can you do?
Yep, they're pressing button right now. Twist forced to use their resistance
defensively.
defensively.
That's not going to be good at all, as now we do have the Way of the Dragon that's going to be committed down on the powerful. That is going to be the junglers that are going to be taken down. No more retribution whatsoever. Buski still survives with a pixel of health, and yet he's not down just yet. The rest of Alchemy is just going to be running it down. Pacific is just going to be going straight in the faces of Coconut. He does have his Heart's Claw, so at least he's going to survive for now. Alchemy will be able to take this Lord pretty darn easily. But, you know, they're gonna have to reset this Lord a little bit. And let's not forget about the heavy lane down at the bottom.
This is a very crucial Lord for Alchemy. They really need this Lord to try to push in all 3 waves in sync. As long as Evil is split up, especially through that base defense, Alchemy has a better shot in clearing this game out.
Well, let's see how that siege is gonna go. The Lord's gonna spawn soon. They have all the resources on the map to quickly farm and, you know, just take their time, chill. And you can tell right now, Evil, I mentioned about nerfs. They're definitely starting to feel it. And you see, even just going to the red buff, they have to open up the map slowly. And this is a process earlier. I felt they should have started earlier, especially previously before that Lord fight. They were a little bit too slow, waiting for the last 3 seconds to open up. And that takes time. But, you know, that hesitation, you never know. This is why when it comes down to these enhanced Lord fights specifically, these even like 5 seconds, it may seem like, you know, blink of an eye. But those 5 seconds will be the most important seconds, especially at trying to regain your map control over those objectives. And now as the Lord is pushing in, all 3 waves are coming in. I would say, Evil, you're going to deal with some gaps in the base very soon.
Let's not forget, they don't have a very good way of clearing the waves. So they should be expecting a collapse down at the top side as well as potentially the bottom side. Powerful Coconut, JS, and Carrot just going to be holding down the fort in the northern area and hoping that they will be able to bring down this Elemental Lord as soon as possible. Alchemy, unfortunately, they didn't quite sink the wave in the middle and the bottom.
I think they did. They did, but Evil, they cleared the wave pretty efficiently, if I could say so myself. Jace has a very efficient way to clear that wave with the Star Shatter and with that field. Alchemy, though, they really need to try to draw Evil out of their base. As long as Evil is stuck within the vicinity of their castle, they do have that extra defense boost. They do have that high ground capabilities to just wipe Alchemy out. Remember, Alchemy's draft is all head in. It's all out. They need to be in their faces.
Now, of course, I think that Alchemy has kind of fallen back into their old habits of playing comfortable. Remember, we're looking at Alchemy with about 6,100 gold lead, close to 6,200 gold lead, and yet they aren't exactly playing like as though that they had the lead. Remember, when the Lord was pushing down the northern side, Evil doesn't have a composition that allows them to wave clear fast enough. If Alchemy were to literally just run it down onto them, when Jet do have the Raging Sandstorm, when Donnie have got a pickoff, literally every single one of their battle spells were available. They could force that out. They could literally do that. They may lose a couple of members, but what can Evil do with that couple of kills when they have all of the inhibitor turrets taken down?
Yeah, it's just waiting for them to at least make a mistake, because they know that Alchemy's draft is really in your face kind of draft. So you need a Cho to make a mistake into this, your own side, and then you try to react to that situation. But Twist has to find the opportunity to flank over onto Pacifist. As long as Pacifist goes down, Evil has a perfect win con. Now, we will have a little bit of a pause, but to talk about all of this, though, Alchemy really learned from...
They're such a good team with the team fight synergy, and then all boils down to the mid trio. Like, why are they able to, you know, do so well, even give some of the top 4 teams like such a huge scare? It's because you got Jace's, you know, coming in from the EXP, previously a shot caller. He carried them last season, right? And now you bring him over to the mid. I mean, like, yeah, last year. And then you bring him over to the mid. Him, powerful. They're supposed to, like, really be, like, the foundation of this entire team. But for some reason, that didn't work out. And even with Twist as well, not having a good time, Alchemy. And obviously, I'm very pleasantly surprised with how this game is turning so far. The problem still stays at the fact that Evil doesn't have anyone to really just jump right in. Or not say jump right in, but kind of go in, pull the Lord away from the hands of Icon, because if Powerful were to be the one to do that, boy oh boy, is he putting himself in such a bad spot. All in all, we gotta have to focus a little bit more onto the heavy lanes as well as the long lanes rather. Bottom lane, look at that. It does seem as though the priority is going towards the hands of Alchemy. So over time, Evil is definitely going to have a tad bit of a problem dealing with that. So Alchemy, just play with time. Bide their time. Eventually, that moment will appear for them.
In this draft, I mean, Alchemy should have just went fast with this Lord, because every single time they waste is the Star Shatter hitting onto any one member of Alchemy. And now you see this Bruno just going back, trying to heal as much health as he can. Jet already at half health. Twist trying to pull the trigger on him.
Jet doesn't really have a lot of help to work with. He immediately used his flicker to get himself right out of dodge. So he gonna have to go back home. That is pretty much for sure. Evil have managed to relinquish the control from the side of Alchemy and starts to pull the Lord for themselves. But the question is, are they going to pull the same thing as Alchemy did, which is to play things slowly? Or are they just gonna keep it resetting over and over again until they find some advantage in the short lane?
I mean, to be honest, like the longer this, the longer they prolong this Lord pull, right? You can see the Novaria, she's just gonna slowly chip people away. So you need to make sure, if you're Jet, if you're Pacifist, just make sure you don't get caught, don't take too many hits. The last thing you want. We saw like one Novaria hit, bam, half HP gone, and Pacifist has to go back to heal. And he's running out of camps from time to time, So this is, I would say both teams, they can kind of just chill, slowly assess the situation. There's no reason to get too aggressive right now. This is all about who has the strongest nerves as a team. Individual gameplay will only be like 5% of this, how this Lord fight is going to be won at this point. But that being said, the bottom wave is starting to look like it might be pushing in on the side of Alchemy and Evil. One person has to respond to that. Top lane's pushing in, Brody can take care of that. But if someone splits to the opposite end of the map, that's where Alchemy, they have to capitalize.
Yeah,
and I think the Twist is the one that can actually do that. I mean, remember, whenever he does have his passive, he actually can actually move pretty fast.
Danny!
But it does seem like we do have Alchemy that's just going to pull the trigger right on top.
Twist.
Powerful, but Twist is just going to be jumping over to the back lines. Pacifist immediately flickers himself right out of dodge, and he's going to be A-okay at least for now. JS nails the Star Shadow on top of Jet, but Jet is just going to be going over aggressive right on top of Evil +1. And with that all said and done, both sides of Evil and Alchemy, they didn't manage to find a lot of damage onto the opponent's side. It's just that Twist, he went in for the call. He went in for the call and he was hoping that he would be able to do much for his team, only to his own demise and Alchemy not having a single one down.
Now with one man down, Alchemy can pretty much take this Lord whenever they want, but Evil slowly but surely with this Wrath just healing everyone back up. Evil is ready to go. Without Twist though, it's harder to get Pacifist. Oh, Danny hits Carrot up, pushes Evil back out of the way.
It is just full out zoning from the side of Alchemy. And now they know that they have got a pretty good zone. They can just actually focus down the Lord as much as possible as the Star Shadow strucks down on the 5 members. Pacifist is going to be the first person to be taken down. And let's not forget the torn apart memory will all be connected down onto Donnie. But Buski somehow finds a way to bring down the Lord. So they do have a little bit of insurance for themselves, even if they have a couple of members taken down. None of the members from the side of Evil is down just yet. Alchemy, the only silver lining in the clouds is going to be that Lord marching up north.
And this is one of the perks of the Novaria. The slow pokes. These are all slowly coming in. And it was really close as well. And are they actually going to make them sweat? I feel like Alchemy, they have to be sweating a little bit.
They want to cycle.
It doesn't seem like things are going to be very easy for Alchemy.
The Lord top lane.
They managed to clear the wave pretty darn fast in the middle lane and forced Evil to react to the Lord in the northern side. This brings more time for Alchemy to buy. And in fact, it doesn't seem like the third Lord is going to be the end of the game. Perhaps it would be the fourth or the fifth.
This is huge for Evil. Now with the first and second tier turret in the mid lane gone, Evil can take control of that map. The economy diminishes to around 3,000 gold lead. Alchemy still on top, but they have to be very patient. They have to pull Evil out. They know that they can't fight Evil in the Lord objective. They need to pull Evil out and find a way to get that flank onto Coconut. Once Coconut's out of the picture, Alchemy could very well cycle them through. They have to also protect Pacifist. With Pacifist gone, that's it. Evil, they're going to cycle through.
Now, we are entering into the end game stage, whereby goal, deficit, advantages, they just mean absolutely nothing. So now it's all about team identity. It's all about team composition. And by this stage of the game, Hades, who do you think have got the advantage?
I would say Evil, because right now you have that mental factor. I'm pretty sure to Alchemy, that Lord specifically was meant to be their game-winning Lord. And when, so many attempts, they've already gone and banged their heads like, twice now. And they had...
Looking at their heroes, Martis is a snowballing hero. You're the one to let him go for the dunks as much as possible time and time again, which he did. And I think that he did a pretty good job. But there's this other thing that I see, that they have an X-Ball and a Cho. And with these two heroes in one single composition, doesn't that mean that this is a rather difficult and highly mechanical team composition and win condition to fulfill?
I mean, this is why I pointed it back to the draft. I mentioned that, the Xbox. This is nothing against the players specifically. In fact, I think that Pruski has been pulling out these tiny individual players that are going under the radar, and they have been so impactful. For example, like with the Lord Steel with his ultimate, right? And this is why I wasn't a fan of it, because when it comes to sieging, what's the game plan there? If the Bruno doesn't have a good game, what's your backup plan? If Bruno's not going to be the one hitting the tower, who's going to be the one to at least throw their life in? Maybe, say, Danny, maybe he could have like thrown his life a little bit more. Or it could also boil down to the fact that, what you guys were mentioning earlier on, saying that these guys are not playing like they're winning, they're playing afraid. And that is,
right.
that's also one thing. When I mentioned that I think they're trying to do too much, playing afraid, that would often be like the go-to factor. It's just human nature. When you're afraid, you move back to what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, so this is back to the habits of Alchemy, whereby they're not necessarily playing to win, but they're playing not to lose, which is going to be the main problem for Alchemy that has been around since the regular seasons. And unfortunately, I wouldn't want to call that their team identity, but it has been quite telling time and time again.
The thing is, Alchemy, they lack range. Every single one of the members have to be very, very in your face when they face up against Evil, which is their downfall, especially in the late game. We talked about Martis being a snowball hero. In the late game, he falls off hard. There's nothing much that Martis can do because Evil basically has all that defensive items. Martis can't reach the backline as effectively as he used to in the early game. But Danny is trying his best to get that Novaria. He's trying his best to just dive into that backline. But Evil's not making it easy.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Alchemy's timing was then when Twist had to deal with the wave. They were trying to look for the position, but really well done to Evil to kind of like just back off. Not give them the fight that they want.
Yep, that's gonna be the middle lane, and of course, Twist finding himself in a really bad spot.
Big pick.
To the point that Alchemy have managed to find a pick down the Twist. As such, now, I can be pretty sure that Pacifist is gonna be completely unhinged because no one, absolutely no one, will be able to reach him from this point onwards. As such, Danny is going to make a quick little flick on down onto Powerful. He may have lost his immortality, but the rest of the members from the side of Alchemy may very well run it down. Pruski's just gonna be putting himself right in the face of Coconut as well as Carrot. He may have gone down the second time, but don't worry, he's a cat with 4 lives. Eventually, he's gonna come back up again and again. Alchemy, they're gonna have to really watch out for these Star Shatters though.
Ah, that's so unfortunate. Jace, I swear he's not having much luck. We've tried to burst people down the poke. If he let, just as I said that. Okay, maybe he's the only player on Evil that I can praise. The last team fight when I praised the Evil, for some reason like a Twist kind of got caught. So maybe I should just stop for a bit. But now we're back to another Lord dance.
Welcome back to the Caster's Dance where you can actually invoke the power of the Caster's Curse.
Yeah, man. Nice to see I still got it, yeah, to a certain extent. But now we see Alchemy. They're running, I would say like, Danny. He doesn't have that immortality, so he can't throw his life as much as he would like to. But that shouldn't stop him from still trying to do it anyways. And Jace, he really needs to land those Star Shatters like you mentioned, because otherwise, he's just giving Alchemy a bit too much confidence. The more he misses, the more they're going to be like, hey, he's not going to land it anyways.
It's just going to keep going on time and time again. And unfortunately, Icon can only tank the Lord and these Star Shatters for so much. He's not a hero that can really get a lot of healing other than the Guardian Helmet. But Powerful will be the one to take the Lord for themselves. While throughout it all, Twist is going to be finding himself taken down. We do have the Winter Truncheon that's going to be popped from the side of Icon. But Powerful will eventually be able to bring that down for themselves. Evil has finally gotten themselves the very first Lord of this game. And that will be putting themselves down to a tie, but close to the tie.
Bottom lane.
We also gonna be left with Pruski. We're gonna be moving on forward for Powerful as well, JS, to really find the final few shots. But remember this. Pruski, he does have got himself the Twilight Armor. He will be able to resist the Star Shadow whenever JS is just going to be hitting right on top of that. These 2 ballistas will be dealt with by Pruski very, very easily. But how about the Lord?
Oh man, doesn't look good for Alchemy right here. It's just one X-Borg against the world. Evil, 2 lanes just pushing in. Pruski draws the Lord towards him. Minions all spawning up. Pruski still staying alive.
He gotta buy time. He gotta buy as much time as possible. But let's be honest here, 20 seconds is a little bit too long of a time for him to even pull anything right out of the bag. Even if you pull a bunny out of the hat, there's no way the Alchemy can even try to find something against this Lord.
The patience paid off for Evil. They secure game